2 years ago, late December 2019, a Chinese doctor, Li Wenliang, was WeChatting on social media about what he called 7 SARS cases at his hospital in Wuhan. A few days later, he was ordered to the Wuhan Public Security Bureau and made to sign an official confession promising to cease spreading false rumours about coronaviruses. The rumours were so false that a couple of days after his police interrogation, Dr. Li caught the totally falsely rumoured coronavirus and died a month later. He was 34. And thus, Chairman Xi's blood-soaked regime embarked on the same strategy it had used with SARS almost 2 decades earlier. Arrest anyone who tells the truth and lie to the world. Domestic flights out of Wuhan were shut down lest the likes of Dr. Li infect Beijing or Shanghai, but international flights carried on to Milan, to Seattle, to London. And because of China's lies, over 5 million people are now dead, and normal life in this country and many others has been on hold since March 2020. Our public health guys like to talk about COVID as a war, but if it is a war, it's a war the West is waging on its own people, while the fellows who unleashed this thing on the world have gotten away with the deaths of 5, 6, 12, however many million people it will have offed by the time it's done. While the West chose to tank its own economy and paralyze itself, China, under cover of COVID, has been advancing its strategic goals on every front. It's threatened Taiwan, it's trashed the one country, two systems Hong Kong agreement, and Big Butch Boris Johnson has barely uttered a peep about that. China's buying up Latin America. And Joe Biden is silent about that, possibly because of the Biden family's extensive business relationships with Beijing. As an independent panel has just found, the Chi-Coms are committing genocide against the Uyghurs. And yet the Muslim world and all those Muslim lobby groups bleating about so-called Islamophobia in the West 24/7 haven't got a word to say about China's ever-growing mound of Muslim corpses. One country, two systems. In mainland China, the Tiananmen Square massacre never happened. In formerly British Hong Kong, the university has a famous statue commemorating Tiananmen Square, the Pillar of Shame. Oh, no, wait. Oh, I'm so sorry. It turns out the authorities have now taken it down. So much for one country, two systems. Instead, it's one system, two countries. In one China, the Uyghurs get slaughtered and Hong Kongers lose their rights, and scientists get disappeared if they tell the truth about the origins of COVID. And in an entirely different China, in 5 weeks' time, the world's athletes will be jetting in for the Winter Olympics as if it's perfectly normal to be ice dancing and curling and two-man luging to advance the prestige of Chairman Xi as his ugly dictatorship tightens its grip as the world's dominant power. Should we be going to this dictator's games? And what should we do about China's responsibility for COVID? Reparations? Economic decoupling? Give me your thoughts. GBViews at gbnews.uk or via Twitter at GBNews. The contradictions of our world were nicely caught in a tweet from Peter Hitchens, the one and only. Peking has removed a monument to the Tiananmen Square massacre in Hong Kong as part of an effort to hide that it ever happened. Why is it that people still get so worked up about the long-dead British Empire and are indifferent to or even friendly to the Chinese Empire? That's a question worth asking. In fact, one can make the case that Chairman Xi is actually reconstituting the British Empire. He's gobbling up the Commonwealth, country by country, from the Solomon Islands to Sri Lanka to all Britain's old Indian Ocean ports to Uganda to Antigua in the Caribbean. Beautiful, pretty, small Antigua, where China has invested $1 billion, which seems rather a lot for a country of under 100,000 people.